I have 3 trucks that I'm going to be comparing. All of these are my trucks. They're all 2-wheel drive, so I'm focusing only on 2-wheel drive. One of them is an RTR. The other one is a basher build, so it's a truck that I built specifically for bashing, even though there's a transponder in it currently. And the other one is a race truck, which is the one that used to have the transponder. So the point of this is just to compare the weight difference between them and what makes a race truck when it comes to weight. Now, keep in mind that most race classes may have a weight minimum, so that's something you have to keep in mind. Now, I'm going to compare the weights without a battery and without a body and without wheels and tires. And the reason why is the assumption is you can put the same body on every truck, you can use the same battery on every truck. So that would be consistent. I don't have to account for it. This truck over here, I don't feel like taking the wheels and tires out. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm actually going to just subtract the weight from a set that I have already removed from a different one. So that being said, we will get started. So it's zeroed out. If we place this one on here, we are looking at a mass of 1969. Now, here I have not zeroed out. So what I'm going to do is, now these are over 400 grams. So we will go ahead and zero out, and then I will remove these, right? So it's negative 554, that's how much these weigh, so it's subtracting the weight from it. So if I weight now, we're looking at 1515, so 1,515 grams for the RTR. This is a 2-wheel drive Slash. This one's stock, so this one's completely stock. Stock servo, stock electronics, stock everything. Now, if we weigh this one over here, we have to zero it out again. Actually, I don't need that many anymore, so we'll zero it out again. This is the basher build. This one we are looking at 1681, so 1,681 grams. So there's quite a bit of difference between the two, and weight will affect your performance on your vehicle. So that's something that you want to keep in mind, especially if you're racing. Now that truck is pretty good if I were to bash and race because it has the LCG versus the high CG. The high CG is just going to tumble left and right. But this is an SC6.2. We're looking at 1238. So if you remember the Traxxas Slash, that was the RTR, that was 1515. So we're looking at almost 300 gram difference. That's quite a big difference. That means that this truck, I could add a battery and still be underweight. Actually, if I put a battery and body, I would be at about the same mass between the two. So this is something that is usually a difference between something like this that is meant to be raced, not bashed, versus something like this, which is a basher. I mean, there's some obvious difference too, right? Rear motor, mid motor. But this one here is made for bashing. That is the purpose. And if you lift it, it is much heavier. Once you start adding the aluminum components, you do gain a little bit of mass as well. Keep in mind this one has the GTR shocks versus the other one just has the smaller plastic ones. So that's going to make a difference in weight between the two. So this stock Slash, to be honest, isn't really much of a basher. And the reason why is I mean, it's fast enough, but there's a lot of components you're going to be breaking, like these caps. You'll bend the shafts for the shocks. There's a variety of things. So to turn this one into a race truck that can also bash, you would need an LCG chassis. Unless you're running really loose dirt, then this one will be fine. You probably won't roll as much, but usually you're going to be rolling left and right. So LCG and at least the aluminum caps, which I dislike because you'll still bend the shaft. So really GTR shocks all over, but the system's fine. This one over here has completely different. This is actually a Traxxas suspension kit. So the arms are longer, the shock tower is also wider, but this is something that you could do if you like the Slash platform. But if you're planning on racing, if you already have one of these, enter it. If you want to go rookie, that's fine. You will learn, you will do fine. Right, rookie, you can enter whatever it is that you want. But later on, if you want to move up, you will have to make an investment and go into a race truck. Now, the cost is going to be different between them. So, for example, the RTR that I had over there, as of this video, you're looking at about $200. It depends if you have to pay sales tax or not. They usually sell for $189.99 or in this area. So if you have to pay taxes, you're probably looking at about $205, $210, depending on what your tax rate is. This one over here, you will have to build. Now you're looking at about $36 for the chassis. You're looking at about $105 for all 4 GTR shocks and springs. $150 for the Hobbywig system, which is better than the VXL system, in my opinion, and a little less expensive. The transmission, that's a Proline transmission, it was about $120 when I bought it. The ProTrack kit, that was about $65, say $70, and then you need all of the other parts, right? Bumpers are about 10, these are probably about 8. Body mounts, you're gonna need the bearings, everything else. So you could start with a regular Slash and then replace almost everything. The point is, it's gonna start getting pricey because if I were to round the numbers now, not being very precise, say $150, $100 for this, that's $250. If we add 40 to this, that's going to be $290. Let's see, what am I missing? So I did this, shocks, I lost track. So let's see, 120 plus 150, that's 270, 100 for the shocks, 370, the chassis, let's just say 30, that's $300, even though we're looking at more than $300. Servo, $300, let's say you pay 15, even 20 with the servo. Let's just say servo horn and servo, you're looking at another 80, so that's $380, $40, 25. So anyway, you're going to be spending at least $400 on something like this steering bell crank. Just imagine 500 bucks. Something like this, you're going to be looking at about $330, $340. I forget how much the kits are now. And then you need a motor. It's your choice motor. You can buy something inexpensive. Hobbywig makes some nice combo kits for about $100. You can get a motor ESC, or you can get something that's, you know, $150 and then $100 for the motor. So at that point, let's just say this was 400, 550, receiver, what did I say, 500? Let's see, 330, 400, 550, 600. And then the servo, you're looking at about $700 for something like this. So that's also going to make the difference in choice, but there is going to be a big difference when you drive in performance between the two. So that's something you want to consider. The difference in the quality of what it is that you're buying because you have different materials, aluminum chassis, plastic chassis, for example. This one you have to cut and mill out, that one goes in a mold. The electronics that you're buying as well. So these are all things that you have to consider. But other than that, I hope this video is helpful in understanding the weight difference between the two and the advantages when it comes to weight of an actual race dedicated vehicle versus a basher or an RTR. That being said, thank you so much for watching. Please comment below, subscribe if you have not, and I'll catch you in the next one.
What? Oh, my hair! My tongue! My rod!